One thing I've noticed when I'm using my designer series paper, sometimes it's not exactly the right colors that I want, or perhaps you have some designer series paper that are quite neutral, but you need something that has a little more color to it. So what I want to share with you tonight is just a simple idea, but maybe something that will help you, is when you have designer series paper that has white in it or very light colors. For example, this one is the gray granite with white print, and this one is white with gray granite, and then this one's just white and black. That you can actually add color to your designer series paper and create something customized for your project. So I'm just going to show you how that works. Now this designer series paper here is from the Peony Garden suite, and it is all petal pink and gray granite. So I thought I'll use the petal pink because I noticed in the pack the papers are either gray granite or petal pink, but there isn't a print that is both of them mixed together. And sometimes maybe if you're doing a project that uses several prints, it's nice to have one print that has all the colors that ties it all together. So what you would need is a sponge dauber or a Stampin' Sponge or a sponge brayer, but some way to apply the color. And you will just apply it directly, oh, it's very light, so it might take a few layers here, directly onto your designer series paper. Here it comes. I'll just do the end portion. And you'll see that because it's a lighter color than the gray granite, on the gray granite portions it doesn't really show up that much, but you'll get it showing in the white portions. Okay? Now that also means that this designer series paper and the other prints that have white in it in this pack, you're not limited to just gray granite and petal pink. That you could add other colors onto this paper as you wish to create something entirely different than the colors in that suite. For example, I'll try it on this one. I'm going to use Seaside Spray because that's one of my favorite colors. And add that, onto here. Now I didn't try these before, which was maybe a little bit living dangerously for me. Now, if you use the sponge brayer, of course you'll get quite a different look again. You'll get more of an ombre look. And you might need to put on more layers because it goes on a little bit lighter than with the sponge or the sponge dauber. You could even use a spritzer, as long as it's probably mixed with alcohol instead of water, just because the alcohol would dry quickly. So that's what it would look like with the Seaside Spray on there. So you could create kind of a customized gray and Seaside Spray look. So again, even though the sweet colors are petal pink and gray granite, you can certainly forego the petal pink and add more colors in, or just create entirely different colors. Now this pack, the Pampered Pets, I believe is what it's called, is quite fun because they've got a lot of prints that have white on them. I just pulled out a few. There might be a couple more. So any of these could be colored to have a background unique to it. You don't have to stick with the blacks, the whites, the reds, and the pinks, and the grays. You could add something really different. So I thought with this one, I'll add the Bermuda Bay. I'll try it with the sponge brayer just so you can see how it maybe would look and work a little bit differently. So with the sponge brayer, just be careful. I say this every time we get them out. Just be careful to not push so hard that these little edges dig into your ink pad. You don't need to press that hard. And it will only rip up your ink pad, so you don't want to do that. So this, you can get kind of that ombre look where you see it's darker down here, and then it's going to go lighter as you go up. But it lends for quite a different look to these papers than as they are printed. So you see that you'll get that kind of a look, which, can be quite nice, adds a little bit of something different on there. All right, so let's do a little project together. It's just a simple card. We'll get rid of that. Just a simple card, but just something that shows the idea and maybe gets your creativity going. Thinking. So I've grabbed from the Ornate, I believe it's called Ornate Garden Suite. You'd think I would look these things up before I turn the camera on, but I don't always think to. The Ornate Garden Suite, where you've got, there's actually quite a few colors in the pack and in the print, but there is this one that's just white with gold on it. And I wanted to just add some color. So this one is just absolutely free for all. You can add any color you want. And I initially wanted to use, let's see if I can find it. I wanted to use this saying from the Ridiculously Awesome that says, "You are my sunshine." And so I decided to use yellow because my intention was to use that. And it ended up not fitting. So, but I still stuck with the yellow. Why don't I go ahead and show you that finished card, and then we'll go ahead and make it. So you see that I've used the yellow and created like an ombre look along with the gold. I probably wouldn't normally ever think to pair yellow and gold together. Maybe when the bumblebees were out I did once, but I probably would have picked something else. But like I said, I wanted to use that particular stamp. Well, that was my intention. Sorry, you'll need to hold your paper while you do this because it's quite thin. So I'm starting at the bottom each time and then just inking it all the way up until the ink runs out. That way you'll get that ombre look because your ink is heavier down here at the bottom. And you can even, make certain that it's heavier down here. And I'm using Daffodil Delight, if I didn't say that already. Okay, then I have just a standard, I'll get rid of that. I came prepared at least with my mats this time. I just have a standard Whisper White card base here. Now I've cut this to 6 inches and I'll show you why. I'm just going to go ahead and stick that down. I'm going to use my Stampin' Seal. And I'm just going to kind of eyeball, actually I want to make sure I get all the dark parts. So I'm going to start that at the bottom and adhere it up like that. Now I've cut it intentionally long so that I can just trim it off and then it's exactly the right size. For some reason, I don't know why, but as much as I try to, when I'm trying to get something exactly the same, unless it's a really even measurement like just 4, then I seem to not be able to. Then I have cut, now this was 2 inches wide, then I've just cut 2 Whisper White strips. This one is 3/4 of an inch and this one is about 2 inches, but you can adjust that, that doesn't matter. Someone's asking me, how did I get my Stampin' Seal to work so smoothly? I actually have had 0 issues with it whatsoever. So I'm not sure. The only thing I've sometimes had is like right now, where sometimes when I've broken the adhesive, there's no adhesive right here anymore, and so I just have to roll it up just a little smidge because the adhesive is what sort of catches on the paper and gets it to roll. But other than that, I've had 0 issues whatsoever. And I'm just going to adhere those to a couple of strips of the gold foil just to bring that gold theme through as well. And I just want a little bit showing. Okay, then these 2 pieces, you could just put them on flat as is, but I'm going to put them up on dimensionals just to give that a little bit of like a shadow look. Okay. So then this one I'll put up, and I'm going to line it up with the right hand edge and the top, and you can see that I've cut it a bit long, but like I said, I did that on purpose so that I can trim it and have them all the right size. Otherwise, you can just do your best to get them the right size and then trim as needed. This is just the habit I've gotten into over the years of doing it like this. Okay, there we go. Then we have our little words. Now, like I said, You Are My Sunshine words were just way too big. They were gonna like cover the whole card front, which is great, but just for this particular project, I wanted something a little more subtle. So I went back to the Lovely You because I really like this font and these words, and I chose the Miles Apart but Still in My Heart. Because all of us, well, I would say pretty much all of us have friends or family overseas, so it's nice to have something like that. So then you could go around the edges with the Daffodil Delight, or what I did here is just inked along the bottom to kind of continue that ombre look. Just do a little bit more. So there's just a little ink here along the bottom. And then I wondered if I should put a little bit of ribbon on this particular version of this card. So I have some of this white linen ribbon, and this particular one comes in the Flowers for Every Season ribbon pack. So it comes with some twine and a little bit of gingham ribbon as well. And I'm just going to do what I call my support ribbon knot or bow, just kind of like that, and put that along the side here. And you can just tape it down, doesn't have to be pretty, and I'm leaving it long, and I'll trim that once I've got my words on. So we'll put words, I'm just going to put dimensionals along that one side, although I guess it doesn't matter, I could have it on through the whole thing anyway, but I'm just going to carry on. All right, so something like that, and then you'll just trim your ribbon as you want it. Something like so. Okay, then the last thing would be to add our gems. I don't know that I can do a project without gems. So I have the Gilded Gold gems here that come in the same suite as this paper actually. So you'll just kind of eyeball where you think is a good place to place those. I think I'll go this way this time. There isn't really a lot of rhyme or reason other than needs to be in threes, and my personal opinion is it's better to have them in a little group rather than having them like 1, 2, 3 all over the card, like over the entire card front. I think it looks better to have them in a little collection. So there you are. That's just one really simple idea of how you can take your otherwise, I'll just grab it, otherwise white or plain piece of designer series paper, which there's nothing wrong with that, but by adding a little bit of ink to them, you can get so much more out of the designer series paper. So I hope you've enjoyed, and as always, I'd love to see any projects that you do inspired by these videos, so please feel free to send through or to share on the page. Thanks for watching. Have a good night, everyone. Bye-bye.